How to talk with anyone. Alex often felt a whisper in his soul, a deep longing to connect. He watched others effortlessly engage, their words flowing like vibrant rivers. His own thoughts, however, remained trapped behind a silent, invisible wall, a frustrating barrier. How to talk with anyone, he wondered constantly, a question echoing in his quiet mind. Felt like an impossible riddle to solve. Social gatherings were a particular nightmare for Alex, a daunting challenge. He'd stand awkwardly, a timid wallflower observing the vibrant dance of conversation, feeling completely out of place. How to speak with people, truly express himself, seemed an elusive art he could never quite master. His tongue felt heavy, his mind a blank slate when faced with new faces. One rainy afternoon, his usual routine shattered. He stumbled upon an old, forgotten library, its air thick with stories. Dust motes danced in the sunbeams. There, nestled between ancient, leather-bound tomes, he discovered a section dedicated to English story reading. A strange curiosity sparked within him, a tiny flame in the dimness of his solitude. He began with simple tales, their plots unfolding gently. The words formed vivid pictures in his eager mind, a new kind of world. The rhythm of the sentences, the unfamiliar sounds, slowly started to soothe his restless spirit. It wasn't about talking yet, but about listening, absorbing, embracing new patterns. He felt a quiet transformation beginning deep within his being. The stories transported him to faraway lands, introducing him to characters who spoke with grace and undeniable wit. He started to mimic their intonation, their expressions, alone in his quiet room. How to talk in English became his secret, solitary project, a personal quest for a different kind of voice. It felt much safer, less exposed, a private sanctuary. He'd meticulously repeat phrases, focusing intently on the precise pronunciation of each new sound. The sounds were initially alien, yet became increasingly captivating to his ears. This quiet, private practice became his personal sanctuary, a sacred place where mistakes simply didn't matter. He was learning to walk again, but this time with brand new empowering words. He imagined elaborate dialogues, meticulously playing both roles with growing enthusiasm, carefully honing his every response. This personal rehearsal, talking at home to yourself, proved incredibly invaluable for building self-assurance. It built a sturdy foundation of confidence, brick by careful, deliberate brick. Each whispered word was a significant step forward, a bridge towards the vast world outside his window. His initial goal wasn't unattainable perfection, but simply profound understanding and basic fluency. He embraced the entire journey, accepting every stumble as an essential part of the transformative process. Why you should practice speaking, he profoundly realized, was not merely about achieving seamless fluency, but profoundly about building immense resilience and bravely overcoming the deep-seated fear of judgment. The vast expanse of the internet opened up entirely new, exciting avenues for practice. He eventually found brave language exchange partners, a terrifying but undeniably necessary step forward. How to talk to people in pairs, he wondered, nervously arranging his very first online call. His heart pounded with anticipation, a frantic drum solo of undeniable anxiety in his chest. His first few online conversations were undeniably clumsy, filled with awkward pauses and hesitant, fumbling phrases. Yet, The remarkable patience and understanding of his newfound partners genuinely encouraged him immensely. They corrected his errors gently, without judgment, and celebrated every single small victory with enthusiasm. He learned to listen actively, to formulate thoughts rapidly, embracing the awkward silences as part of this crucial learning curve. He began to understand that communication wasn't just about perfect grammar. It was also profoundly about connection, about bridging cultural gaps. Each shared laugh, every misunderstood phrase, deepened his resolve. He was no longer merely learning a language. He was learning to truly connect, to genuinely empathize with diverse perspectives from around the globe. This was truly life-changing. Every morning before starting his day, Alex would dedicate specific time to reading English stories. He found that immersing himself in diverse narratives expanded his vocabulary naturally. This daily ritual wasn't just for language acquisition. It was a peaceful escape, a mindful moment. He was building not just words, but also a deeper understanding of human experiences, broadening his horizons immensely. The stories provided context for words, making them stick better than mere memorization. He'd highlight new phrases, then try to incorporate them into his internal monologues. This active engagement transformed passive reading into a dynamic learning experience. The characters' voices resonated within him, becoming templates for his own emerging speech patterns. He felt a powerful synergy. Gradually, the fear of making mistakes began to recede, replaced by a growing curiosity. He saw errors not as failures, but as invaluable opportunities for growth. Each misstep was a lesson, a chance to refine his understanding. This shift in mindset was monumental, allowing him to approach new conversations with much less apprehension and more genuine enthusiasm. He discovered that practicing aloud, even when alone, significantly improved his fluency. His tongue and lips became more agile, adapting to the unfamiliar English sounds. The physical act of speaking solidified the words in his memory. This constant vocal repetition was a powerful tool for embedding new linguistic patterns deeply within his mind. It truly made a difference. Still, there lingered a sense that private practice alone wasn't quite enough. He needed real-world application, unpredictable interactions to truly test his newfound skills. The comfort of his room was a good start, but actual conversations in unpredictable environments were the true crucible. He realized he had to step out of his comfort zone again. He began actively looking for external opportunities to practice speaking. Local meetup groups, online forums, even brave attempts at talking to tourists in his city. Every interaction, no matter how brief, was a chance to put his learning into action. He was consciously seeking out opportunities, creating his own immersive environment, pushing his boundaries. Online, he found several language exchange platforms. He browsed profiles, feeling a mix of excitement and trepidation. The idea of talking to complete strangers, even virtually, was still nerve-wracking. But the desire to improve, to genuinely communicate, outweighed his lingering anxieties. He knew this step was utterly essential for his progress. He chose partners based on shared interests, hoping that common ground would ease the initial awkwardness. How to talk to people in pairs became less about grammar and more about genuine connection. He prepared a few opening questions just in case, but aimed for natural, spontaneous conversation flow, which was a challenging aspiration. His first few pair conversations were undeniably challenging. There were fumbled words, long silences, and moments of utter incomprehension. He felt a blush creep up his neck more than once. Yet he persevered, remembering the why behind his efforts. Each faltering sentence was a brave attempt, a learning experience in itself, building resilience. His partners were incredibly patient, offering gentle corrections and encouragement. They clarified meanings, rephrased his sentences, and shared their own linguistic struggles. This collaborative environment fostered a sense of camaraderie, turning daunting tasks into shared adventures. He learned that authentic connection often blossomed from mutual understanding and supportive communication. Alex honed his active listening skills during these conversations. He learned to truly hear not just the words, but the underlying intentions and emotions. This heightened awareness made his responses more thoughtful, more appropriate. He realized listening was just as vital as speaking for effective communication, a crucial insight often overlooked by many. Gradually, a genuine rapport developed with several partners. They discussed hobbies, cultural differences, and daily lives. These were no longer just language exercises. They were meaningful friendships forming across continents. The joy of understanding and being understood transcended mere linguistic achievement, becoming a profound personal fulfillment. He felt truly connected. He started applying learned phrases and vocabulary in real time. The abstract concepts from his story reading sessions suddenly found practical application. This immediate feedback loop solidified his learning, making new words and structures part of his active repertoire. It felt incredibly satisfying to use words he'd only seen in books, now alive in conversation. With each successful conversation, his confidence in spoken English soared. The initial fear of public speaking slowly began to dissipate, replaced by a growing eagerness to communicate. He was no longer just learning a language. He was embodying a new, more confident version of himself. This transformation felt truly liberating and empowering. One partner, a charming chap from London, introduced him to the delightful nuances of British English. "Let's talk in British English," he'd suggest, opening a whole new world of accents, idioms, and cultural references. This specialized focus added another fascinating layer to his language journey, making it even more enriching and engaging. Alex became captivated by the specific sounds and rhythms of British accents. He watched British TV shows, listened to podcasts, and tried to mimic the precise intonations. The subtle differences in pronunciation, vocabulary, and even humor were endlessly fascinating. He appreciated the rich diversity within the English language, constantly learning new variations. Delving deeper into British culture, he understood the context behind many idioms and expressions. This cultural immersion enriched his understanding of the language beyond mere words. It wasn't just about speaking correctly. It was about speaking authentically, with cultural awareness. His appreciation for the language deepened profoundly, creating a richer learning experience. He actively expanded his vocabulary, focusing on words and phrases common in British English. Q, Lou, chap, brilliant, cheers. Each new word felt like a tiny discovery, a secret code. This targeted learning made his conversations with British speakers much more natural and enjoyable, fostering genuine, effortless rapport. The challenge of mastering British English brought renewed excitement to his learning journey. It prevented complacency and pushed him to continually refine his skills. This specialized focus felt like a delightful game, a puzzle he eagerly wanted to solve. He found immense joy in the continuous process of linguistic exploration and discovery. He practiced specific sounds like the non-rhotic R and the distinct T in certain positions. He meticulously repeated sentences, aiming for authentic pronunciation. This detailed attention to phonetics, though challenging, made his speech sound much more natural and native-like. He understood that mastering these subtle nuances was key to true fluency. Mimicking native speakers from various British media became a favorite pastime. He'd record himself, compare it to the original, and tirelessly identify areas for improvement. This self-assessment, combined with external feedback, accelerated his progress significantly. He was becoming his own best teacher, relentlessly pursuing clarity and authenticity in his speech. The joy of refinement was immense. He found satisfaction in perfecting a difficult sound or effortlessly using a new idiom. This continuous improvement fueled his motivation, making the entire process enjoyable rather than a chore. He realized that true mastery was a journey, not a destination, filled with endless opportunities for growth. Overcoming the challenges of different regional accents, even within British English, added to his sense of accomplishment. He trained his ear to distinguish subtle variations, broadening his comprehension. This adaptability made him a more versatile and confident communicator, capable of understanding a wider range of speakers from diverse backgrounds. He felt more authentic, more himself, when speaking in his new refined voice. It wasn't just about speaking English, it was about speaking English with personality, with a connection to a specific cultural identity. This sense of belonging, even through language, was profoundly fulfilling. He truly felt he had found his voice. Despite all his progress, a moment of doubt, cold and insidious, occasionally crept in. There were days when fatigue set in, when the sheer volume of new information felt overwhelming. He'd question the immense effort, wonder if it was truly worth all the painstaking dedication and relentless hard work he had poured into it. A voice in his head, insidious and sly, whispered, "Why you should not learn English." It presented compelling arguments. "It's too hard. You're too old. There are too many words. You'll never be perfect. Why bother with such an arduous, endless task when there are simpler paths?" This internal monologue was a formidable adversary. The temptation to simply give up, to retreat into his comfortable silence, was very real during these low points. He'd see others struggling, facing similar hurdles, and wonder if perhaps it was just an insurmountable mountain. The sheer scale of the English language, with its vast complexities, seemed overwhelming at times. But then he'd remember his initial motivations, the profound desire to connect, to understand, to be understood. He'd recall the vibrant worlds he'd discovered through English story reading, the new friendships forged. These powerful memories were anchors, pulling him back from the brink of despair. His purpose was clear. He'd revisit the joy of small victories, a perfectly understood joke, a complex thought articulated clearly, a stranger's smile of recognition. These moments, though seemingly minor, were potent reminders of his progress and capability. They were the fuel that kept his internal engine running, pushing him forward despite the occasional doubts. He often looked back at how far he had come, from a timid, silent observer to someone confidently engaging in conversations. This remarkable personal transformation was undeniable proof of his tenacity and dedication. The journey itself, with all its challenges, had made him stronger, more resilient than he had ever imagined. He reaffirmed the intrinsic value of communication, not just in English but in all forms. Language was a bridge, connecting hearts and minds, breaking down barriers. He understood that true connection transcended words. It was about shared humanity. This profound realization deepened his commitment to linguistic mastery, reaffirming his initial purpose. Pushing past the temporary discouragement required immense mental fortitude. He learned to acknowledge the negative thoughts but not dwell on them. Instead, he refocused on his goals, on the next small step. This resilience, forged in the crucible of self-doubt, became one of his greatest strengths, propelling him forward always. The internal monologue shifted from self-criticism to encouragement. You can do this. You have come so far. Every effort counts. This positive self-talk became his constant companion, his inner cheerleader. He learned to be kind to himself, to celebrate effort as much as outcome, fostering a healthy learning environment. He realized that persistence was not just a virtue but the absolute key. It was the unwavering commitment to keep going, even when tired, even when frustrated. The journey of learning a language, like life itself, was a marathon, not a sprint. Consistency, he discovered, trumped intensity every single time. Then it happened. A spontaneous conversation at a local coffee shop. Words flowed effortlessly, without conscious effort or translation. He was discussing global politics with a complete stranger, contributing thoughts, listening intently, truly engaging. It felt less like a learned skill and more like a natural extension of himself, simply flowing. The once heavy tongue felt light and agile. Thoughts formed directly in English, bypassing his native language entirely. He laughed, he debated, he connected. It was a breakthrough moment, a culmination of countless hours of diligent practice and unwavering dedication. He felt truly liberated, a monumental shift in his very being. Connecting with strangers became not just possible, but genuinely enjoyable. The world, once a daunting place, now felt incredibly open and inviting. Every new person was a potential story, a new perspective, a fresh opportunity for profound human connection. His universe expanded exponentially with each engaging conversation he initiated. How to talk with anyone was no longer a mystery. It was simply about starting, about being present, about genuine curiosity and empathy. He understood that communication was a two-way street, built on mutual respect and a willingness to understand. The once insurmountable barrier had completely vanished, replaced by open pathways. Speaking with people, truly engaging in meaningful dialogue, became his new normal. He no longer needed scripts or rehearsed lines. He could adapt, respond, and express himself authentically in any situation. The fear of judgment had completely evaporated, replaced by the profound joy of genuine, uninhibited interaction. The transformation was utterly complete. Alex, the once shy and reserved individual, now initiated conversations, joined lively debates, and effortlessly navigated social settings. His newfound linguistic fluency had unlocked a social confidence he never imagined possessing. He was no longer just a listener. He was an active, vibrant participant. His social anxiety, once a crippling force, had dramatically diminished. He could approach new situations with a sense of calm and self-assurance. The fear of saying the wrong thing or nothing at all had been replaced by a quiet confidence in his ability to communicate effectively and authentically. New opportunities arose from his improved communication skills. A promotion at work, invitations to international conferences, and a wider circle of diverse friends. His life had become infinitely richer, more colorful, thanks to his dedication to mastering English. The ripple effects of his efforts were truly profound and far-reaching. Confidence radiated from him now, a quiet but undeniable glow. It wasn't just about speaking English. It was about the profound belief in his own capability to learn, to grow, to overcome any challenge. This inner strength, nurtured by his linguistic journey, extended into every aspect of his life. The world opened up before him, full of infinite possibilities he once thought unattainable. Traveling became more enriching, meeting new people more exciting. He could read, watch, and understand a vast array of global content directly. His perspective broadened exponentially, embracing diverse cultures and ideas with genuine enthusiasm. He began to share his journey, encouraging others on their own language learning paths. He offered tips, shared resources, and emphasized the power of persistence and practice. Why you should practice speaking, he'd tell them, is because it changes everything, truly opening doors. He became an inspiring mentor. The power of persistence was unmistakably demonstrated in his own life. It wasn't magic or innate talent. It was consistent, dedicated effort over time. His story became a testament to what humble perseverance could achieve, a beacon of hope for anyone feeling stuck or overwhelmed by a challenge. He embraced continuous learning as a lifelong philosophy. How to learn English, he realized, was not a single method but an ongoing process of discovery, adaptation, and enjoyment. There was always more to explore, new nuances to master, forever expanding his linguistic horizons and global understanding. Alex, the once hesitant individual, was now a confident, articulate communicator. His journey from silence to fluency was a powerful narrative of transformation. He found his voice not just in English but in life itself, ready for any conversation, any connection, anywhere in the world, thriving.